Hey guys, this is Sergeant Phoenix back in the action, and today we are doing our deck profile on the Star Seraphs. And this deck is used by Dumont from the season ZEXAL, and he is one of the 7 Variant Emperors of Varian World. They could have thought, honestly, Konami could have thought of a little better name for Varian World, but you know, it's what you have. You know, like Astral World is just Astral's World is Astral World. Doesn't really have much of a name, but you know, what can you do? So this deck's more of a, I based it on a structure deck really. It's not built for overpowering, but it's built for decent, getting used to them and just working with them. But I added in some extras just to make it decent, but it's mostly monster and spell card based because he never really used Demon never really used traps. So first we have Star Seraph Scout. In Star Seraph Scout, when this card is normal summoned, you can special summon one Star Seraph monster from your hand. So, basic. Next we have Star Seraph Sage. Once per turn, you can send one spell card from your hand to the graveyard, special summons one Star Seraph monster from your hand. And the last one is actually a combo that he uses. One of each of these Star Seraphs you can use to summon out his signature number card. What number 102. And the last one was Star Seraph Sword. And this card's effect, once per turn, you can send one Star Seraph monster from your hand to the graveyard. This card gains attack equal to the original attack of the sent monster until the end phase. Now, these three, like I've said, are used. So you summon that, to special summon that, sent a spell card to special summon Sword, and he instantly got. And right there, you've got a combo. You've got a decent combo on your first turn. But you'd have to get. If you're the first player making the first turn, you know you'll only have one card. You'll have to have a spell card straight away, and you'll need a trap or something to keep a defense of some kind. Now, these next ones were never put on the anime, but I wish they would have put these on because it would have added a bit more, you know, a bit more style into the deck to make me feel like there wasn't just these ones. But these ones are Star Seraph Scale, and this card's effects. When this card is special summoned, you can special summon one Star Seraph monster from your hand. Then you can place one light monster from your graveyard to the top of your deck. An Xyz monster that was summoned using 3 or more monsters, including this card on the field, as an Xyz material gains this effect. So let's say I use Sword, Scout, and this one, it'll gain this effect. Once per turn, while this card has Xyz materials, if a monster is special summoned from your hand, immediately draw one card. So it'll gain that effect. So the monster will gain that effect, that additional effect, while it has that as an overlay. When it has it as an overlay unit. This one has a similar. This one has the 3 or more monster effect, as well as an Xyz material, and this is what its effect. But the other effects are this: when this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one Star Seraph monster from your deck to your hand, except Star Seraph Scepter. An Xyz monster that was summoned using 3 or more monsters, including this card, as a materials, gains this effect. So, like I've said, but this one's effect is, when it is Xyz summoned, you can target one other card on the field, destroy it, and if you do, draw one card. Now, Scepter's a decent card to use. You can add one to your hand, and but if it's on, if you've special summoned it, you can add it. If you've not monsters, but I have a spell card that helps special summon as well. But you can use it as, so you can special summon more than just the 3. You could summon out 5 monsters if you play your cards, if you get the right hand. The last Star Seraphs I have in this deck are the Star Seraph Sovereignty. I can't pronounce it. But this card's effect, I was hoping to add a third one, but I wasn't able to. But this card's effect cannot be used as a material for an Xyz monster except for the Xyz summon that uses 3 or more Xyz materials. If you normal or special summon a Star Seraph monster, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, draw one card. then you can special summon it if it is a Star Seraph monster. So if I normal summon Star Seraph Scout, I have a 2-chain there. This card's effect probably would activate first. Special summon, draw a card, and if that's a Star Seraph, summon that. Scout's effect, I get the monster the other Star Seraph I want to summon from my hand. So immediately I've got 4 monsters out. And if that was Scout, and I have a spell card and a Star Seraph, immediately I've got 5 already. It's what I like about Star Seraphs. They're based on summoning out more and more of them. Next are my last monsters, but these are not Star Seraphs. You can add more of these into the deck to help you out, but with this deck, the Star Seraphs kind of already work. But first we have 2 copies of Shining Angel. And this card's effect, when this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 light monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck in face-up attack position. So you could summon Scale, special summon if your opponent has only 1 monster and they destroy it. Summon Scale, summon 1 from your hand, then you could put Shining Angel back on the top of your deck if you wanted. But the other one we have is Nova Summoner. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 light furry monster with 1500 or less attack points from your deck. If Sanctuary of the Sky is on the field, you can special summon the Arclight Parascythe instead. You can, and I do actually have Sanctuary in the Sky as well, but I don't have the Parascythe monster, because I don't really need to use it for this deck, because this deck's mainly Xyz based. And the last monster's Honest. During your main phase, you can return this face-up card from your field to your hand. And during the damage step, when a light monster you control battles, its quick effect, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. That monster gains attack equal to the attack of the opponent's monster it is battling until the end of this turn. And I have used this card. I have tested this deck out. It's quite effective, but you just got to make sure you draw the right hand. Next we have our spells, and the first one we have are 2 copies of Rank Up Magic Variance Force, one being better than the other one, that one. And obviously, if you don't know about Rank Up Magics, this is what makes the Baryons a little more powerful than normal Xyz summoning methods, because this lets you target 1 face-up Xyz monster you control, special summon from your extra deck 1 Chaos number or Chaos Xyz monster with the same type as that monster you control but 1 rank higher by using it as an Xyz material. This is classed though as an Xyz summon. And also you attach all the overlay units and that rank and the one you're ranking up to the new monster as Xyz materials. And if possible, detach 1 Xyz material from a monster your opponent controls and attach it to the summoned monster as an Xyz material. It had another effect, it had an anime effect, which was the stealing overlay unit, but it was a bit more unfair. Because its effect was, it steals all the overlay units from one opponent's Xyz monster, and your opponent and that monster will lose 300, and the opponent's monster will lose 300 attack points per Xyz material that was taken from the effect. So right there, if they had that rule in, Rank Up Magic would be really overpowered a lot. But they instead just chose 1 and get it, but no losing attack. The next ones are Valhalla Hall of the Fallen. And this card's effect, technically, if you control no monsters, you can special summon a fairy type monster from your hand. But you must control no monsters to activate this effect. Next we have the field spell, Sanctuary in the Skies. Battle damage to the control of a fairy monster from a battle involving that monster becomes 0. So technically, as long as if you're using fairy type monsters, but your opponent isn't, you won't take any battle damage that involve your fairy type monsters. It can work. I think it works for the opponent as well, but you never really see any players use fairy types. But I would recommend playing this deck if you want to learn about fairy type monsters. Next we have the Sanctum of Parascythe, and this card's effect, this card's name becomes Sanctuary in the Sky while on the field or in the graveyard. Furry monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense. Set spells and traps cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. Once per turn, you can target a total of 3 furry monsters and or counter traps with different names in your graveyard. Place them on the top of your deck in any order. Yep, that'll mainly be used for the Star Seraphs, but I only have... How many counter traps? One. I only have 2 counter traps in this deck. But you could use the counter traps if you wanted to, because you can negate effects as well. Next we have the forbidden cards. Not forbidden as in Exodia, obviously. Forbidden as in spells. Now, there are more forbidden cards, and I would recommend if you want to use the forbidden cards, use them in Star Seraphs, because they are quite good. The first one, Forbidden Chalice. You target 1 face-up monster on the field until the end of this turn. That target gains 400 attack, but its effects are negated. And they're all quick spells, which is what makes them actually quite good. Just check something. Now, next is Forbidden Dress. Target 1 face-up monster on the field until the end phase. The target loses 600 attack, but it cannot be targeted or destroyed by other card effects. And that can be useful. I've used it on my 102, and I used it so I could... because my opponent used Mirror Force, so I just played that quick when it was on the field, and then I could... so then my monster wouldn't be destroyed. Because it's a quick spell, so I can activate it anytime I want. But if it's my opponent's turn, I have to play quick spells face down. You have to play them face down on the field. Next, Forbidden Scripture. If a monster battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation, negate all other card effects on the field until the end of the damage step. Also, damage calculation for the rest of the battle. For this battle uses each monster's original attack and defense. So, I can't fully specify what that means. So, during the end of the damage step, also, damage calculation from this battle. So, I think it means any damage that someone's going to take uses each of those monsters' original attack and defense. So, I'm guessing if the monster's in defense, you'll lose you'll lose damage equal to its effect. So I don't really know. But another theory is I think it adds the attack and defense of that monster that's destroyed, and then it deals them to the controller as damage. I don't fully understand what it means. I'd have to play the card, and I'll probably comment down what it means. Next we have the last card, Forbidden Lance. Target 1 face-up monster on the field this turn. That target loses 800 attack, but it is unaffected by other spells and traps. Just thinking, was it this one actually? Yeah, it was this one. I was thinking, which one was it that I used against the Mirror Force? Next we have Swords of Revealing Light. Obviously, when it's activated, face down monsters your opponent has go face up, and for 3 of your opponent's turns, your opponent cannot attack, and after 3 of your opponent's turns, this card's destroyed. That's practically what it means. Just when it's played, face down monsters your opponents have, they go face up, and your opponent can't attack for 3 of their turns, and then that card's destroyed. Next is Monsters Reborn. Practically, this lets you special summon a monster from either player's graveyard. Ties of the Brethren. Yugi actually used this in the final episodes. And this card's effect, pay 2,000 life points, then target 1 level 4 lower monster you control for the rest of the turn. After this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters. Also, special summon 2 monsters from your deck with the same type and attribute and level as that monster, but with different names. So you could summon other Star Seraphs, but I also have another card I'm going to show you which could help out as well. But, of that monster, but you cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this card. So you can't special summon, and you can't attack the turn you play this, but you don't have to. You can have a defense. If you have a plan, you can put a defense with it. Next we have United We Stand, and a lot of people play this equipped spell, I know of. Because the equipped monster gains 800 attack points and defense points for each face-up monster you control. So let's say I have 5 Star Seraph monsters, and I equip it onto, let's say, a Star Seraph scale, right there. It'll gain 4,000 attack points because it counts itself. It also counts that monster as well. So it would gain 50. So its attack would become 5,500. The last spell card we have is Twin Twisters, and it's a quick spell. You discard 1 card, then target up to 2 spell trap cards on the field and destroy them. Just in case your opponent has at least 1 or 2 face downs, you can at least get rid of them somehow if you don't use the traps. And now we're up to our traps, and then lastly we're on the extra deck. And I'll talk a little bit, if I can, of what I think of the deck overall, of myself. This was a deck me and my a friend of mine worked on, and I was going to give this back to her, but then the lockdown happened, so I'm planning to give this back to her when the lockdown's finished. You know, because she lives quite a distance from me. So first we have Miracle Locus, and this card's effect: target 1 face-up attack position monster you control. Your opponent draws 1 card. Also, that monster gains 1,000 attack until the end of this turn, and if it does, it can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase this turn. If this card attacks or is attacked this turn, your opponent takes no battle damage from that attack. Just in case your opponent uses powerful monsters, you can get rid of them if you use the scale combo what I was talking about. Next we have Dark Bribe, and this card, when your opponent activates a spell or trap card, your opponent draws 1 card, and that effect is the activation of the spell or trap is negated, and if it is, destroy it. Next, we have Graceful Tear, and this card's effect: you add 1 card from your hand to your opponent's hand. So practically, you give your opponent 1 card in your hand, then you will gain 2,000 life points. I've used this. I have this in my Vector deck. If you're new to my profile and you want to see it, because it mostly focuses on number 44. I believe it's Manipulator of Souls. I can't remember what number it is. I think it's 44, and it's based on life point strategy. The more life points you gain and you have Manipulator of Souls, the more powered up Manipulator of Souls become, and then the more damage you do, because Manipulator of Souls will deal damage to your opponent equal to the number of attack points it gains. And it gains attack points equal to the number of life points you gain in 1 turn. So if I use Graceful Tear during, let's say, my turn, I get 2,000 life points. Manipulator of Souls gets 2,000 attack, and your opponent loses 2,000 life points straight away. And Manipulator of Souls can be a really good combo to use if you give it a decent defense, like, as much as I can, like I did with my Vector deck. It's story-based, but it works. Okay, next we have Light of Judgment. If the Sanctuary of the Sky is on the field, discard 1 light monster to the graveyard and apply one of these effects. Look at your opponent's hand and discard 1 card from their hand. The second one, send 1 card from your opponent controls to the graveyard. So you could get rid of either 1 from the hand or 1 from the field. If it's a monster, it can work. Next we have Recall. When your opponent activates a monster effect, your opponent draws 1 card. Also negate the activation if you do destroy it. So this is practically Dark Bribe, but for monsters. Next we have Pinpoint Guard. This is the last trap card in the deck. And this card's effect: when an opponent monster declares an attack, target 1 level 4 or lower monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position, and it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects this turn. And I've seen a lot of people use this. You can use this for Scale, Scepter. You could use it for Sage. It works. It can work for nearly any. It works for every card that requires special summoning. Now we're up to our extra deck. And I put them in number order, first numbers and then chaos, but I wanted to put the signature one in first, so because it's despite it being higher. So first we have 3 copies of number 102, Star Seraph Sentry. I don't have the chaos number for it, but I can use other chaos numbers for it, as long as they're fairy types, like Rank Up Magic says. You can use number 103, Ragnar Infinity, because that's a fairy type monster and it's 1 rank higher because it's a chaos number. So that's the best thing about Rank Up Magic. You don't have to have the exact number. You can use other ones as long as they're the same types and at least it's 1 rank higher. It works. But this card's effect, once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, then target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, half its attack, also negate its effects. And if this face-up card on the field will be destroyed, you can detach all of its Xyz materials instead. And if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to this. And if you do, any battle damage you take this turn is halved. So it has an upside, but it has a downside. And with the latest rules, you can summon all 3 of them out if you're able to. Next we have Lunar Light. And this needs 3 level 4s. And I forgot to mention, 102 needs 3 level 4s as well. And this card's effect, once per turn you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, draw 1 card. Next we have number 39, Utopia. If you don't know about this card, this is Yuma Tsukumo's signature card from ZEXAL. And it needs 2 level 4s to summon. This card's effect, when a player's monster declares an attack, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, negate the attack. When this card is targeted for an attack while it has no Xyz materials, destroy this card. So it has a... it's not an overpowering card, but the Utopia's rank ups are really powerful and dangerous. Next we have number 69, Heraldry Crest. I added this card in because it's a good card. If your opponent uses Xyz, you can use this as a major advantage if they have all their Xyz monsters on the field and they don't have any way of stopping, and they don't have effects that stop them being affected by monsters. Because this card's effect, that needs 3 level 4s as well. When this card is special summoned, negate the effect of all other face-up Xyz monsters currently on the field. You can target 1 other face-up Xyz monster on the field until the end phase. This card's name and original effect becomes the same as that monster's. And you can only use the effect of Heraldry Crest once per turn. So like say you had 102 on the field, you could actually still use its effect, and it can still attack. So it's not a big loss if you have your own Xyz monsters on the field. Now we're on the Chaos Xyz, and then I actually have a link in this as well, and I'll show you the link. Now, Chaos number 39 Utopia Rare needs 3 level 4 light monsters, and its effect, you can also Xyz summon this card by using number 39 Utopia you control as an Xyz material. Xyz materials attached to that monster also become Xyz materials for this card. So it's like a Rank Up Magic, but with this you don't have to have Rank Up Magic by a Rank Up Magic card. Now you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card. This card gains 500 attack, and 1 monster your opponent controls loses 1000 attack until the end phase. You must have 1,000 or you must have 1,000 life points or less to activate and resolve this effect. So this card's more of a last resort kind of effect. Next we have Chaos number 69, Heraldry Crest of Horror. And this card's effect, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can destroy all cards your opponent controls. If this card has number 69 Heraldry Crest as an Xyz material, it gains this effect. Once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, then target 1 face-up Xyz monster your opponent controls. This card gains attack equal to the face-up monster's original attack, and it gains attack this way. And if it gains attack this way, this card's name becomes that monster's, and it gains that monster's original effect. These effects last until the end phase. And even if your opponent doesn't use Xyz monsters, it has 4,000 attack, which could be still effective, and its destroy all cards your opponent controls effect can still be is also very useful. Now, this card, like I said, you can use it if you're running out of monsters, but I use it solely for the last Xyz monster, Chaos Xyz Baryon Hope, and I'll explain its effect in a minute. But Ragnafinity's effect, once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach one Xyz material from this card, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the difference between that monster's original attack and its current attack. And if you do, banish it. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard while it has an Xyz material, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. Number 103 Ragnar Zero must be in the graveyard to activate and resolve this effect. That's the downside. I don't have number 103. You could add it in this deck if you wanted to summon this out easier, but either way it doesn't matter in my opinion. Now Baryon Hope's effect, it has no attack and defense, and it's a rank 7. But the reason I add this in is if you can also Xyz summon this card by using one monster you control with chaos numbers that are over 100. That are chaos numbers. So chaos number 101, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 can be used to Xyz summon this card. And those Xyz materials attached become this one, so this is like a rank up card. And this card gains 1,000 attack for each Xyz material attached to it. Then you can target one number monster in your graveyard until your opponent's next end phase. This card's name becomes that monster's, and replace this effect of that monster's original effect. You can only use this effect of Baryon Hope once per turn. So let's say I I target 1 or 2 in the graveyard. If I have another one in the graveyard and I've used Ragnar Zero and I've summoned Star Seraph using 3 monsters, this will gain 5,000 attack. If I have another one in the field, I can give it Star Seraph Sentry's effect from the one that's in my graveyard, which can give you slightly unfair advantage because it can because it'll make your opponent's monster lose half its attack and negate the effect. But you'd have to make sure you have traps on the field just in recall or Dark Bribe just in case your opponent has a Mirror Force or Magic Cylinder on, which I've seen people still use. The last card now in this deck is the Hip Hoshin Engine. I can't pronounce, and this needs 2 light monsters. Its effect: all light monsters on the field gain 500 attack and defense. Also, all dark monsters on the field lose 400 attack and defense. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one light monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand, and you can only use this effect of Hip Hoshin once per turn. And that is it. That is the Star Seraph structure deck I've designed with my friend. Now, it has faults. I can definitely see some faults. I'd say it's not got enough defense in it. But this deck's solely based on summoning out monsters and summoning the Xyz to practically try and weaken your opponent in a certain period of time. Now, I'll hopefully try to do other deck profiles. I have my Ad Ignister deck, and I am thinking of it, and I am moving rooms as well. So I'll be able to, if people want me to do Legacy of the Duelist decks on other decks I've been working on and designing and thinking of, on certain archetypes. I worked on a mummy deck, a penguin deck for my littlest sister because she loves penguins, and I've also recently been working on a wolf deck, mostly werewolves. But I've used fire formation spells and traps to give it a kick, because that deck's now based solely on attack points and power. Now, comment down below what you think of this deck. I think if I was to say Dual Academy GX era, I would say it's a decent raw yellow, strong raw yellow to a decent obelisk blue, I would say. But comment down below what you think of it. It depends on if you draw the right cards, really. But again, comment down below what you think of this deck, if there are other decks out there you would like me to profile, or if you would like me to comment on something that you want to post. I don't mind it. I don't mind at all. But until then, this is Sergeant Phoenix, over and out, and please stay safe since we're under lockdown, and listen to what the government is telling you. They're saying this to keep us safe as best as possible, but we need to listen to them. So again, please stay safe, and until then, this is Sergeant Phoenix, over and out.